Okay, so let's get right into this. Some of you have heard the rumor that I do have the coronavirus, and it is true. I was in the emergency room yesterday. It actually took me longer than I thought to just take a shower. This is pretty much the best I'm going to be at this time period throughout the day because, when you start early, you're out of it. By the end of the day, you're out of it. So, right in the middle of the day, that's why I'm doing the videos right now. I'm not able to do the live video where I answer questions for 30 minutes today because I just wouldn't have the mental competence to be able to go ahead and go through it. One of the weird things is that when I get the coronavirus, my brain actually swells. So you'll notice throughout this video, my face will get more and more red throughout the process. It's just one of the side effects, unfortunately, with me that happens. It was so bad yesterday that I wasn't able to even really explain to the medical personnel at the emergency room what was going on. Now, with that said, now that you understand that, I want to get right to this because this is very interesting. We are on the precipice at the beginning of about to see the moments before essentially a lot of the proof from Elon Musk. Now, Elon has had the unfortunate situation where lots and lots and lots of people have been able to attack him for his findings without court rulings, which means that everybody would be able to ask him about facts and he wouldn't be able to provide them because it's not like you can just throw social security number or information out into the wild west, which is of course the internet. So the main thing you have to kind of keep in mind here is we're going to be able to see him with the court system be able to defend the things that he's been claiming. But you did probably notice that he went down from the trillions of fraud mark down to the billions of potential fraud mark in the United States. However, this video in particular is about the Office of Inspector General on behalf of the SSA, and specifically the new catch of claimants, recipients, beneficiaries who have essentially abused the program or have in some degree, in some way, done fraud, similar fault, etc. Let's get into this one real quick up front. This was April 11th, 2025. Ocean County man admits to fraudulently obtaining over $250,000 in Social Security disability benefits. Now, I want you to focus on two things with this. Number one, how much time is this person getting in actual jail/prison time? How much time are they being punished for? Okay, that's what I want you to focus on. That's number one. Princess Diana, thank you for the $2 donation. That's absolutely awesome. Very, very cool. Thank you. I love that. Diana's been with us for a really, really long time. She's royalty. So basically, I super appreciate that. With that said, yes, it's me, Angie. Yeah. So yeah, basically coronavirus, not the standard COVID one, a different one. So it probably happened when I went to the homeless facility and worked with the homeless. That's where I tend to get most of the viruses and bugs that I do get. Unfortunately, as you also know, I had a very, very important date this week with a hockey game, and that kind of screwed all that stuff up because I can't get her sick because her job is super duper important. So just kind of screwed up a lot of stuff. So anyways, with that said, the other thing I want you to kind of focus on, number one, is how much prison or jail time the individual had. And then number two, the other thing I want you to focus on is essentially what types of proof did they have against this person. Now, of course, this is a summary document from OIG, but it usually gives us a little background as to what they found, what happened. So let's get into it real quick. Trenton, New Jersey. And of course, you guys know Trenton, New Jersey. New Jersey has a lot of amazing spots. And by that, I mean one or two. And a lot of horrible spots. By that, I mean I would say 90%. And I'm allowed to say that. I grew up in New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey playing games there in school, playing other teams. I have the right to speak of New Jersey far greater than most. So there's two places I get to shit talk a little bit. That would be Maine and New Jersey. Although I don't really shit talk Maine because I really love it up there. Anyway, so Ocean County, New Jersey, man admitted he defrauded the Social Security Administration for nearly 8 years. So remember that one, 8 years. 8 years in order to improperly obtain over $250,000 in Social Security disability insurance benefits, U.S. Attorney Alina Haba announced. Now, there's how do I pronounce these names? You know what I mean? Like some of them are easy. They're like, Kelly Swazinski. And then this one's like, it's spelled KRZYS ZTOF. So I'm going to say Christoph, right? That's I'm just going to say Christoph. And then Niedzilski. Nizilski. That's what I'm going to go with. Maybe it's Jewish. I don't know. It's just for me. I don't know. Maybe it's like Icelandic slapped together with a little bit of Jewish, maybe a little bit of like European flair. I'm not sure. Okay. So Christoph Nizilski, 49 of Toms River, New Jersey. I mean, it's Tom's River, New Jersey, so it's going to be Italian and Jewish combination. Maybe some Polish in there, so one of those kind of gigs. So, pleaded guilty yesterday before U.S. District Judge Nahid N. Qureshi in Trenton Federal Court to an information charging him with the theft of public money and making false statements to the Social Security Administration. Okay, so that's important there. He made false statements. That's usually how they get a lot of these people. They'll send them a form and say, hey, fill out this quick template form, and that's where they get them. Okay, according to documents filed in this case and statements made in court from at least as early as 2012, so way back, 2012, through at least as recently as 2020, Niedzilski obtained approximately $270,000, $270,933.10 in Social Security disability benefits for himself, his wife, and his dependent children on the basis that he was disabled and could not work. During this period, Niedzilski managed and performed physical labor for a home improvement contracting company where he obtained a substantial income. Substantial income. I'd have to look up what they mean by that in the specific case details, but obviously they wouldn't have put that word unless it was like a higher amount above your basic average income. However, during this time, Niedzilski failed to notify the Social Security Administration of his employment and income. Niedzilski knowingly and intentionally concealed this work from the Social Security Administration to prevent any reduction in disability payments. The charge of theft of public money carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison, and the charge of making false statements to the Social Security Administration carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Each charge also carries a fine of up to $250,000. So that's both. So there's two charges he could be hit with, if max, $500,000. Sentencing is scheduled for August 5th, 2025. That's going to be a really interesting one. I know we got to wait for where the Harry Potter book is going to put us, but that's going to be a really interesting one because this is a guy who does what I know quite a few people do, which is, they get their disability benefits and they do a little side job. And then the side job grows into a bigger job. And then they're doing a full career job and they never notify the SSA. You just can't get greedy with that stuff because you do end up in jail. You do end up in prison. Now, they have not scheduled his sentencing yet. They have August 5th, 2025, but we don't know until they actually do it, what they're going to hit him with. I'm curious to see what you guys think he'll get hit with. Going by what I've read, throughout the years related to this stuff, they chintz on punishing people so much in the Social Security field. I don't know if he'll get jail time. What he'll probably get is some sort of they're going to watch him for 3 years, 5 years, whatever. He'll have to pay back the $270K, and then he'll probably have to pay a monetary thing of $50,000 as well. I don't know. Yeah. Kosher. I would say 3 years suspend. Oh, I'd say for the disability benefits, he's, he could have a ban, unless something happened. But to me, I don't even think they'll put this guy in jail. Imagine if you went to a bank and you stole, this with me here, $270,000. I mean, a lot of people don't realize you can put $1 million in a little kitty lunchbox, right? So imagine you got $270,000. You ran out the door, you got away. They finally found you, 10 plus years later. Do you think you would not get jail time or prison time? Hell no. Your butt would be in prison. You would be in prison. You would be in prison. Probably a little bit of Bitcoin trouble as well, but that's, part of the game. Jeez Louise. All right. U.S. Attorney Haba, according to the Special Agent of the Social Security Administration, Office of the Inspector General, under the direction of Special Agent in Charge Amy Connolly, with the investigation leading to the guilty plea, the government is represented by Special Assistant U.S. Attorney Keith Abrams of the Narcotics OCDETF unit in Newark. If you guys don't know what Newark is, it's spelled Newark, and it is the scary part that everybody's afraid to go to of New York, except it's not in New York. It's in New Jersey. Well, depends on how you want to look at it. But New Jersey is famous for it. It is nothing is bright there. If you land there, right? If you end up in that area and you're just driving around, you could take the most brightly colored shirt and the most brightly colored car, and literally they would seem like gray versions of that color. I don't know what the deal is. It just, Newark sucks the color out of everything. The only emotions there are I'm waiting, I'm tired, and why am I in this place in my life? I don't I don't honestly get it. So, but if you drive out of there towards the Pennsylvania side, Beautiful greenery. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, yeah, there's like horrible vines and poison ivy and stuff, but that's part of the greenery. That's part of the mwah, you know? Hey, every place has its thing. You go to Maine, you get the fishermen screaming at you for no reason. Literally no reason at all. You go to New Jersey, you get the truck driver screaming at you for absolutely no reason. You go to New York, you get the true Italian New Yorker screaming at you for no reason. These are just part of the equation. Although nowadays everybody gets super offended so easily. Hey, it is what it is. It is. All right, let's get to the next one real quick. All right, so over here. Here's the next one. Hold on. Here we go. Yes. Here we go. Another OIG case file, one of the hot sheets that came in. Spencer woman pleads guilty to bank fraud. Now, you'll notice that a lot of these people have been doing this for a really long time. And to be fair, this is all kind of pre-DOGE stuff, pre-Elon Musk, pre-Trump. Well, it's not technically pre-Trump. It's pre-Elon and Trump, before they had a kissy kiss, come together. And if you ever study that, by the way, go check out what happened to Elon and Biden. Like, that was, a lot of people are not understanding where that all came from and how that relationship went to shit real fast. So, but Elon used to be like the poster boy of the Democratic Party, and then things didn't go well between him but Biden there was a bit of a power grab, but Biden, being obviously, president, kind of did things that were really rude to Elon, and Elon obviously picked up on them because they were specific to his industry and expertise. And that's where we ended up. I see Carlene Goldeski, Trenton, Camden, Newark, all dumps. They are literally, if you could just, if you've ever seen the movie Wall-E, it was a Disney movie. It's similar to that. Nothing grows there except sad trees, and the trees are just snipping at the grass to try and get every little bit of water. So it's not the pleasant place. I got to tell you, the concrete even looks shittier than other, like, how concrete looks gray? It looks more pastel-y, crappy gray in those places. I don't know what the deal is. Like, it looks like powdery and sad. I just, if you've ever been to those places, I don't know. Anyway, all right. So Spencer woman pleads guilty to bank fraud. Okay, here we go. Boston, a Spencer woman pleaded guilty today in federal court in Worcester to fraudulently obtaining Social Security benefits. Am I pronouncing that right? Because I was in Boston for a while. I was in Boston for like 4.5 years, because I did my undergrad and my master's, graduated early from both. But bottom line is, I did those two. The graduate. Sorry. I did the 4-year degree, and then I did my master's all there. I did Berklee College of Music and then Suffolk University. But Worcester. You got Lois. Wait, let me get in character. Lois, get in the car. We gotta go. Look, gotta go to Worcester. That's something like that. Something. All right, there you go. You got it. When you want to speak Boston, get a real Irish feeling to you. Have a pint in you, right? Not be sure of which direction your life is going. That is crucial. And then enunciate like you are hurried, but at the same time, not really giving a shit as to what's going to happen next. Crucial to your Boston accent. Not that you're going to be an actor or an actress, but if you ever are, all right, so let's get into this. A Spencer woman pleaded guilty today in federal court in Worcester to fraudulently obtaining Social Security benefits. Bound to be spicy. Here we go. Let's see. Gina Donahue, 62. You know what's kind of funny about this stuff? Like, like most criminals, it's like, that kid stole from Target. That kid stole from Home Depot. It's always like that kid. It's always like that kid, right? But with Social Security crime, it's like, here they come with their walker. They're just, oh boy, here they go. Look at them pedal away. It's just ironic, because they're older individuals, and it's like, you should know. But again, they're older individuals without enough money in the background. Although not, of course, the first claim he did, that guy was getting extra money, but there's not enough money in the savings. So they feel like they gotta save themselves some money upcoming retirement. Also, there's some bitterness too, because if you have like disabled people on, SSI, SSDI, etc. benefits, they're seeing all their other friends succeed and achieve and do this and that creates, and it's a fair bitterness. Like, people are like, oh, no, it's fair. Like, imagine like the depression level you would feel if you were in that situation, just like constantly seeing your life not loping forward at the speed that your friends are. It's a fair depression. It really is. So, point that I'm getting at Sorry about that. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce there, in the form of COVID. All right. Anyway, so the point is, all right. So here we go. Gina Donahue, 62 years old, U.S. District Court Judge Margaret R. Guzman scheduled sentencing for July 23rd, 2025. So we don't know what they're going to hit her with yet. We don't know yet. Okay. From February 2006 through May 2021, let's see. Lorena Donahue fraudulently obtained approximately $41,950.20 in Social Security benefits. So not a lot. I mean, it's a good amount of money. It is like 41K is like, it's not big money. We wouldn't be like 41K large. Like, well, I guess we would. Does anybody know how mobsters use that word? Like 40, like at large is large. Like I think a large is like 100K. I'm not sure. I'm not super knowledgeable about the specifics of their money language because I happen to borrow money from what I think are the highest level of criminals, known as basically the student loan funded United States government groups. When it comes to student loans, I love them dearly, but I gotta say I think they might be some way committing a fraudulent, anti-constitutional activity against future students that are the generational prosperity of Americans of the future that can't afford homes or having kids, the things that are going to like keep this nation from becoming self-destroyed. But again, off that topic, yeah. So does anybody know 41K over 15 years? She should, let's see what we got here. Anybody know? They call it cheese. I'm sorry. The cheese comment got me going there a little. Federally insured cheese. God. I am highly medicated. I'm sorry. From February 2006 through May 2021, Lorena Donahue, although it's got two L's. I always get nervous when I read two L names, Lerena. Could be like Yelena or Lorena. I'm not even sure. I've had a good amount of. Anyway, so fraudulently obtained approximately $41,954.20 in Social Security benefits. Lorena Donahue held a power of attorney for a Social Security beneficiary that died in January of 2006. Woo! Ooh, we know where this is going. Woo! January 2006, power of attorney. Woo! She did a bad thing for a very long time. She did not report the beneficiary's death to either the Social Security Administration or the bank where the benefits were deposited. Instead, Lorena Donahue accessed the improperly paid benefits through several counter cash withdrawals. Oh, she was moving the money. Further, she submitted 4 false affidavits to the bank in 2018 and 2019, stating that the POA was still in effect because it had not been terminated by the death of the beneficiary. Ooh, that is interesting. What do they do with the body? You know what I mean? Like, that's always a question that's highly relevant. What did they do with the body? You know what I mean? Because, the classics are, the pig farm or the big vat, right? Or you bury them under a very rare and can't be dug up tree, The charge of bank fraud provides for a sentence of up to 30 years in prison. See, now that's like, you know what I mean? Like if you robbed a bank or you did like bank, charge fraud stuff, like, they go into jail for a while. But most of the time, Social Security stuff, it's like, and that's the thing. Like, I know these guys are like, well, we could get them under Social Security, their 10-year, whatever. Or, hey, hear me out. She's not going to get 30 years for, 41K, 41 at large cheese. Let me tell you. Hey, but the point is here, 30 years. Okay, so the charge of bank fraud provides for a sentence of up to 30 years in prison, 5 years of supervised release, and a fine of up to $250,000, or twice the gross gain or loss, whichever is greater. She's not going to get that. For 41K, I mean, this is bad. Well, she might get something. You think she'll get prison? I don't know if she'll get prison. I feel kind of bad for like the person who passed. I would like to know what happened to the person who passed away. Now, I will get comments from people who are mean to me, or there's bots too. There's so many bots on my channel. It's obnoxious. Somebody pays for those in some way, which is insanity. Like it's insanity. But there's going to be somebody in the chat or the comments where they're like, that's impossible. The coroner always reports that somebody passes away. And I'm just like, dude, come on. Like they never made it to the coroner. Like that's the point of this. How could that be? How could the system fail? There's so many people out there that don't get that systems are easily manipulated by people who create, code, build, utilize systems. It is the weirdest thing. Like I used to build websites all the time. It is the weirdest thing to talk to the average person about how systems are created, like how the user systems work, how like the article systems work, how the category layouts are, like presentation, coding and graphing and all that. It's just weird to talk to people about that. Like you can't even talk to them about basic crap like a button and how it's hyper automated, through to the different fields of potential articles and what it could do with some potential plugin. It's just weird talking to people about it because they don't know. You know what I mean? Like they to them, when somebody tells them that's a secure system, they're like, that's a secure system. And I get it. Like they don't know any better. So they're gonna say whatever they're gonna say because they heard it on the news. But like, shit, man, come on now. Like if you took a week of coding class, you would never trust any system ever again. You wouldn't. You just wouldn't because you would know, oh, you have to always have a backdoor to the system, which makes it automatically a system that can be broken. So, anyways, all right. So, charge bank fraud provides for a sentence of up to 30 years. She's never going to get that. 5 years of supervised release. She won't even get that. And a fine of up to $250,000, twice the gross gain or loss, whichever is greater. She won't get that. Sentences are imposed by a federal district court judge based upon the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. United States Attorney Leah B. Foley and Amy Connolly. Amy is popping up a lot. Amy's been busy. She's Attorney Connolly and she's working it. Special agent in charge of the Social Security Administration, Office of the Inspector General, Office of Investigations, Boston Field Division made the announcement. Special Assistant U.S. Attorney James J. Nagelberg of the Major Crimes Unit is prosecuting the case. All right. So, what should you learn from this video? A, this is OIG stuff. This is all pre-Elon. They didn't have to rely on Elon and DOGE. You've seen Elon, back down essentially the $1 trillion expectations of finding fraud to the $1 billion expectation of finding fraud. That was just recently. The other thing is that you should realize like Social Security fraud happens all the time. It is an all the time thing. And remember, I'm only showing you the cases that are like criminal press kit release cases, like from their hot sheets from the OIG SSA website. By the way, if somebody puts into the chat or puts into the comments, show me the facts, just look up Office of Inspector General. Just look it up. That's on behalf of the SSA. These are the hot sheets that they release about the people who basically abuse the Social Security Administration process. Now, with that said, we are at the very beginning where we're going to start to see people getting adjudicated, getting, in trouble for all the fraud and things that the DOGE team were able to find. Now, I'm going to be very straightforward with you. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm going to be very direct with you. I believe, I cannot prove it, but I believe, putting a shiny penny down kind of nickel thing. Oh, my ears are so full of that, like that, because I got that cold, the virus, and it's just like, ugh. I believe, okay, that you will be seeing politicians, past politicians, and current politicians who abuse the Social Security Administration's benefit system. I believe you're going to see some of those pop up. And the reason I believe that is because, the bottom line is there are special systems inside the SSA system when it comes to celebrities / political figures, etc., which protects their files from other people seeing it. Well, the main thing is that DOGE got full access to all of that stuff. So the bottom line is, you're going to be seeing people that are normally like, under lock and key. You know what I mean? You're going to be seeing those people pop up and they're going to chase and follow the money. Now, with that said, very quickly, of course, news release related to today from the Social Security Administration. Let's read through it so we can have a good time. Here's the deal. Okay. You notice that there was a new acting press officer, Nicole Tigman. The person that used to be the release person is no longer there, but this person is now acting. So I did happen to notice that if anybody else was watching. News release. Social Security Administration implements new anti-fraud measures to enhance telephone claim processing. Social Security Administration recently announced the implementation of enhanced fraud prevention tools for claims filed over the telephone, further modernizing the agency's services and strengthening program integrity. Beginning April 14, 2025, the SSA will allow individuals to complete all claim types via telephone, supported by new anti-fraud capabilities designed to protect beneficiaries and streamline the customer experience. The enhanced technology enables SSI to identify suspicious activity in telephone claims by analyzing patterns and anomalies within a person's account. So, put another way, if you're doing something a little funky, a little monkey, today was the deadline. Today was the deadline. Well, technically it was actually last week and a couple weeks before that, because the thing was they put this whole fraud search program on like everybody's accounts and files, and it's been wiggling its way through everybody's system. If irregularities are detected, the individual will be asked to complete in-person identity proofing to continue processing their claim. These advancements allow SSA to maintain the security of its services while continuing to expand access for customers who may be unable to file online or visit an office in person. The agency will continue to conduct identity verification for all in-person claims. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I'll start representing somebody and then I'll think there's a problem or stuff like that. I think realistically, or DDS might heads up on me where on a potential problem of a claimant where the claimant might not exist and like their spouse is always doing the paperwork and making the phone calls and stuff like that. We've had some of them. In fact, the ones, I'll say this, the ones that were, in my opinion, the most clearly committing fraud when I started to like question them and ask them what was going on, they were the ones that were real quick to pull out this rule and that rule, and that I can only communicate with them in the future via writing and blah, 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 and da, 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 da. I immediately withdraw for representation because I know they're bullshit artists at the highest level when that happens. It is not that hard to put somebody on the phone to talk. It is just not that hard to go ahead and make sure that they're alive and well and things like that. It's just not. Now, obviously, getting to the office, but see, there's so much fraud. And, the thing is this, like, they try to downsell and be like, well, we don't give that much money out to fraud. But at the same time, the fraud is so bad that, like, they need to do something. So I can understand the arguments having to go in office for somebody is very difficult. But at the same time, I can understand, like, we would prefer a system that remains solvent. That's important. All right. With that said, let's get through this real quick. Quote, we are modernizing how we serve the public, enhancing both security and accessibility, said Leland Dudek, the acting commissioner of Social Security. These updates, quote, improve our ability to detect and prevent fraud while providing more flexible options for people to access their benefits. Okay. Very good. Very good. The updated policy reflects SSA's broader commitment to customer service, program integrity, and responsible stewardship of taxpayer resources, basically saying they're going to try and keep as much money as they can to pay future generations, or the right person at the right time, with the right check and the right happy slap on the back saying, yay, good for you. SSA has worked around the clock to develop and deploy these improvements, driven by the return of employees to full-time in-office operations. Surge capacity is being put in place to support higher demand starting on the 14th. And last month, SSA spent $16.5 million to modernize telephone services nationwide. This update supports the administration's broader efforts to protect Social Security and ensure higher take-home pay for seniors by ending the taxation of Social Security. For more information on the president's commitment to preserving Social Security, visit here. So here's kind of the bottom line, just so you understand it. You'll notice there the whole for seniors by ending the taxation of Social Security, where Trump says he's going to end that. Let me say this. If Trump can pull off, I'm not saying he's going to be able to. I'm not saying he's going to be able to pull off the tariff thing, although that seems to be going in the right direction. Of course, I didn't expect it immediately. If Trump can pull off, right, getting rid of even more fraud at large percentage levels, if Trump can pull off ending taxation on seniors, and also, frankly, they need to end taxation on SSDI benefits that, for somebody earning and then boop, 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 they need to do that as well. Although there's, of course, the you get to claim which year spiel. If he can do that, he will begin to accomplish more. Well, here's the problem with Biden's presidency. Biden's presidency had a crap president, but a great commissioner. Probably the best commissioner I've ever seen. Commissioner Martin Malley was incredible, amazing. Commissioner Kijikazi, not terrible either. She's quite good. So the kicker is, what would have been amazing, although the problem is, I understand Trump can't put Commissioner Martin Malley in there because you'd have the two fighting and it would just turn into a, you know what I mean? I get it. The problem I see here is that I just hope at the end of the day, when it comes to this sorts of stuff, that people get to benefit more in the future from all the less fraud, less similar faults, etc. I just hope people get to benefit more. I hope okay, look, imagine if they did all this stuff and then they increase Social Security benefits for everybody across the line, disability. Because remember, too, when somebody quotes or puts a little comment in there, you always talk about Social Security, but you're always talking about disability. Wah, you're right. Yeah, well, okay. Well, Social Security is a lot of programs. Okay. Social Security is not just retirement. I don't know how we just need to get that out of our brains. Retirement is one program of many. It's the biggest program, but it's one program of many. I just hope with all these savings and fixes and getting rid of the fraud that they can actually increase Social Security benefits, because the problem I see, I'm going to have to grab some water soon, is that at the end of the day, people are getting significantly less because of the cost of living adjustment, where they're not getting as much as they should. They're getting about $500 less per month, and that's across the whole spectrum: SSI, SSDI, retirement, DAC, all that stuff. So if they can fix that and get people up to what they're supposed to have, I do not believe Democrats will be able to correctly, artificially, actually make a grievance against the Republicans, which is not good for the Democrats, because the Democrats, the problem is they now are in the backseat, when it comes to driving, and they got to hit two things to make the Republicans fall. Number one, they got to use the race card. Number two, they got to use the Social Security card. Those are the two things that they must use against the Republican Party. If they are able to use those, Trump will, essentially fall backwards in popularity, et cetera, et cetera. However, if Trump is able to pull this stuff off and then readjust things based on the bad cost of living adjustment math, all the Democrats would have left then as the major cards. Of course, there's many little things. There's lots of little things. Would be the race card. That'd be the only thing that they have left as like the major pinning thing. I mean, you could claim it would be the birth card, like women's rights, women's body, etc. That one is becoming more, and I always say this: if you just go look at the timelines of that one, when the Supreme Court ruled and who was actually in charge of the House and the Senate and what was going on with that. Remember, if you learn anything from politics, it is that products are invested to make money. But in politics, products are created to make money. In politics, okay, problems are created to make votes. That's what they do. So if Trump is successful with any Social Security stuff, the problem is the Democrats need to find a way to quasi-sabotage or create new problems that people have expectations of to successfully pull down the Republican Party. And I know that Republicans are going to hate me for talking about this stuff. I know Democrats, no matter what, it's like 99% of the hate mail I get are from Democrats, which is weird because I'm definitely too liberal for a full-on Republican. Although it seems like Democrats at this point are just so extreme left that like they pretty much give the middle finger to the independents no matter what happens. So us independents were just like, well, no love from there. Literally, it's like 95 to 99% of the hate mail I get is from the left side at this point. So I guess what I would say though is the bottom line here is, if he can pull this off, get rid of taxation on the elderly, get rid of the taxation on the disabled, readjust the cost of living adjustment math, it is going to change the face of politics for a very, very long time. Do I think he can pull it off? I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have tried before. And when I say tried, I mean talked about it and didn't really do shit about it. So to me, he's definitely a mover and shaker. He's definitely accomplishing things. He's passed more stuff. He's done more stuff in this little short period of time than Biden has. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it feels like we're on year 3 with him going into year 4. Like that's what it feels like. So, all right, everybody, I will catch you a little bit later. I'm going to catch you at the next video. I have to go grab a drink. I am starting to notice my body fading because obviously I have the coronavirus issue which I just found out yesterday at the emergency room because I was having the brain swelling problem. But I'll catch you all soon. We will catch up at the next video. Please remember to like and subscribe. Also head over to Google and type in Disability Resolution Law Firm. Throw some stars up there if you can. Disability Resolution Florida. You get to choose whatever you like, but I like waking up to good ones. So, but with that said, I'll catch you a little bit later. Please remember I go live on Mondays and Thursdays normally, just not today because I'm super, super sick. And I can feel my body starting to do the whole sweating thing. With that said, also, if you want a private session, little private session is below. We can always catch up from there. You have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll catch up with you in about 10 minutes for the next and last video of the day. All right, I'll catch you later. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. All right, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.